when people think, oh, medical students are smart, that's really, you don't have to be smart to study medicine. You just have to be dedicated and you just have to be focused. Vulnerable, and I was depending on other people to help me with things that required the language. I would recommend, if you wanted to have a better experience studying abroad, before moving to that country, spend like 2-3 months just learning their language, because that would make a huge impact. Even if you don't come back to the UK, you can go to other countries where entry-level medical doctors are paid way better than here in the UK, and you'll be able to cover your debt.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and hello if you're new here. Welcome to a second episode of the platform, where I'm joined today with
Gold.
So Gold is actually my sister, so I'm just going to ask you now to introduce yourself and what you study, what you do.
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Gold Ake, and I'm a 6th-year medical student at Humanitas University in Milan.
So far in your med school journey, what has been the toughest experience you've faced so far?
For me, because I'm in a foreign land where I don't speak the language, I don't speak Italian as well as I should. That was the biggest struggle for me. The language barrier was the biggest struggle for me. Moving to Italy when I was 22, it's kind of like past the mark where you learn a new language. It's harder to adapt a new language at 22, and also like moving there at the time I did was not really the best time for me emotionally. So I was not really like ready to move to a place where I didn't understand the language. So that was my biggest struggle.
Also, is there any quick study tips you could share with us, like any?
Study tips. I think what really changed the game for me was finding a study buddy that had the same studying technique as me. That really made things go easier and faster for me. So that's one thing I would recommend. If there's someone who you think you can get along with when it comes to studying, then do it with the person, because you will definitely get through it faster. And then for other tips, I watch a lot of videos, because I find it easier to digest information when I see in form of a video than just listening to lecture notes or reading lecture notes. So maybe finding videos that can convey the message that you're trying to get from that topic might also be helpful. And there are other websites like osmosis.org that are really helpful as well, especially for medical students, just to get the general idea of what you're studying. And attending lectures, that's for me, I think that's number one. Attending lectures, I think it divides the work by like half. When you attend lectures, it's easier to remember, it's easier to digest the information than when you're doing like bulk or mass studying. So attending lectures, looking for like videos, if you're a kinesthetic learner like me, videos that can help you, and getting a study buddy that you're compatible with. These are the 3 things that I would recommend.
So far, what keeps you motivated in your journey to becoming a doctor?
I think at some point motivation is no longer there for me. I think at some point it's just what has to be done, because I've come like from a very long journey, starting from doing a first degree in biomedical science for 3 years, and then now being on this 6-year journey, which I'm almost at the end of. So at some point it was no longer motivation, it was more like I've come this far and I have to see it through to the end. It was more like discipline built over time, and also like my family supporting me, encouraging me, and looking up to me as well. It's something that you can't really, like when you go back home to Nigeria and there are people calling you Dr. Gold, like there's nothing you can do. Like at that point you really have to bring that degree home, because people are already calling you Dr. Gold. There's nothing like the pressure. It's a bit of pressure, but it's positive pressure, if I can put it that way. So that discipline and that support from family, and also like having my friends have also been like a big part of it for me, because they're like a support system. They're going through the same thing you're going through, so every now and then we're checking up on each other. It's easier to do it when you have friends that are in the same position, and we're pushing each other, giving each other information. So that is definitely it for me.
And also, what is it like studying as an international student? Obviously you mentioned you studied in Italy, so how is it studying as an international student in a foreign country?
I think in general the experience is not too bad. Like it's not so different from here, aside from the fact that you're really out of your comfort zone, especially if you don't speak the language and you also don't have like family there. So first I would recommend, if you wanted to have a better experience studying abroad, before moving to that country, spend like 2-3 months just learning their language, because that would make a huge impact in your experience there. And also socialize when you get there. For people like me who are introverts, this can be a bit difficult, because I'm more like self-sufficient. I usually I'm okay, by myself. But when you go abroad, you can't do things by yourself anymore. You have to reach out to people. You can't rely on yourself anymore. And that's something that was a big shock for me, because I'm used to relying on myself and doing things for myself. But here I found that I was really vulnerable as an international student abroad. I was vulnerable, and I was depending on other people to help me with things that required the language or something, So that is like my major experience. But aside that, you still meet other international students like you, and you can always like lean on each other. Like for me, that has been a big part of it all. Just having people like me that are also there, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from different countries all over the world. We're all international students, and we kind of all understand what we are going through, so we support each other.
Yeah. And also, is there anything you wish you knew before entering medical school?
I wish I had prepared myself for like the mental challenges that I would face, but there's really no way to prepare for these things. The only thing I would say is maybe I wish I was a bit more all-rounded. Like I wish I had a life outside academics, because that's something that would really help you when you were in medical school. So I wish someone told me to like be more into sports, be more into like music, arts, creatives. This is something that will give you an outlet when it gets too much for you. So that's kind of the only thing I would say that I wish I knew.
And also, imagine for home students from the UK who maybe they're similar to you, where they've already done their biomedical science degree and they're going to do medicine, and obviously they have to take out a student loan. A lot of people feel like it's not worth it because of the amount of debt you're going to be paying back. What do you have to say about that? Do you think it's worth it, or would you consider, if you're in that position where you were going to go on a loan that you had to pay back a lot of money, how would you try to navigate that decision?
Yeah, with student loans, I think for me, I would say it would be worth it in the end, just because you're going there to get a degree, and you can always come back to the UK and get a job like without so much struggle. So I want to believe that you would be able to pay back your loan in due time once you're back here and you're working, even though maybe not like living life like large or anything, but I think it would be like worth the sacrifice if you have to do it. If you were finding it difficult to get into a medical school here in the UK as a home student, I would recommend you looking outside the UK. And with regards to the debt, I think you would be able to pay it back with time. I believe so, because even if you don't come back to the UK, you can go to other countries where entry-level medical doctors are paid way better than here in the UK, and you'll be able to cover your debts. So that's what I would say.
And also, are there any myths attached to medicine that you would like to break? So for example, how people feel like, if you're a doctor, that's just it, and there's no other things. Anything you would like to say about that?
For me, is when people think that you're smart because you're a medical student. I think it's very far from it. I think being smart is just one of it. Like for me, it has been like the least part of my journey, because I don't really consider myself smart. I think being resilient and knowing how to handle information are like the two things that are more important for me. Like when people think, oh, medical students are smart, that's really, you don't have to be smart to study medicine. You just have to be dedicated, and you just have to be focused. That's what I would say. And something else, I think maybe they think you have a lot of money. There's a lot of money. I don't
involved.
Really, there's so many other professions where they're paid much better than medical doctors or like medical practitioners in general. So if money is your main motivation, this might not be the best course for you if that's your main motivation, because there's so many other things you can do to get money.
And also, what advice would you give aspiring medical students, so people who are either on their journey right now or about to start their journey to med school? What advice would you give them?
I would say it's a very long journey, but just the same way it started, it's also going to end someday. So if that's really what you want, you should go for it, and ask for help when you need it, and take a break when you need it, and that's what I would say.
And would you like to tell them what you want to specialize in, or the ideas you have so far?
Well, so far I'm looking at plastic surgery. I'm also looking at emergency medicine, because it's something that's been I find really interesting. Like, no offense, like watching movies like dramas and stuff and seeing how they operate, like it's more fun for me than when I'm actually in the hospital watching like what's happening in the emergency ward. So these two areas I think are very likely for me, and maybe pediatrics as well, and psychiatry as well. Like for some weird reason, I feel like I really understand psychiatry and I really enjoy it. So that's also one of the things I'm considering.
Okay, all right. Well, that's all my questions. Thank you so much, Gold, for doing this video with me. Guys, if you have any questions for her, just ask in the comment section below, and yeah, she'll be replying to your comments related to this video. But yeah, guys, bye.
Bye. Thank you.